Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel, wishing you a happy and healthy start to this hump day. I'm about to get humped on a plane because we're actually going on an extended stay far, far away from this frigid freezer that we've been living in. It's God knows what temperature outside right now, but it doesn't matter because soon enough it'll be sun and sand, hopefully at least. Anyways, other than that, I wanted to follow up on the short-term time frame analysis that we were looking at yesterday. We were looking at a likely move to the upside. Now, granted, we've been relegated to such small moves and small ranges that it's just really not honestly that exciting, but I wanted to thread that back into the lower term timeframes and discuss what's most likely next based off these statistics, and also maybe a little bit of the higher term timeframes as well, because we will be traveling. Unfortunately, we'll be trying our best to get back to all of the emails, but you know, of course, it's going to be a bit of limited connectivity. So I do apologize for that in advance, but we will definitely get back to you within a day. And if you haven't been answered within 24 hours, then definitely send an email to support@crowntrading.net because it probably got lost through some of the cracks. Sometimes they end up in weird folders and stuff like that. Anyways, yes. Also, we have a sale going on right now for another couple days, 20% off of all the programs and products and indicators. As always, make sure to watch the actual videos that accompany these things, so that you understand who they're for and who they're not for. And just to answer a generalized question, yes, the quant program is probably what's been asked about the most, I'd say. It's just a bunch of strategies back tested that you can go ahead and apply for yourself. All right, sweet. So let's bring it on over here into the actual charts. So we left off yesterday when Bitcoin was looking for a very short-term time frame pullback on the hourly, but ultimately, as long as Bitcoin held, very specifically 16,500, that was our area. That was essentially the level, the line to be watching for a higher low, and that's exactly what we got right here thus far on the lower term timeframes, plus continuation nearly to 16,900, which is not the lights on line just yet. It's not lights on just yet. $17,000 or a little bit above $17,000 on a higher time frame closure. That's when the lights actually really get turned on. But for right now, what essentially are we looking at? Well, we can see that 4-hour BBWP is continuing to expand off the lows after one of the lowest levels, or the lowest level that was contracted for a very, very long time. So that does imply that this move probably does have more on top of it. To corroborate that story, we have a couple of things to be aware of over here. The 4-hour jewel is getting potentially another positive signal. So this would be continuation, and it is supported by DMI. So I would say that that's quite likely. Of course, this one closes about 39 minutes. So by the time that I post this video, if it's basically trading here or higher, then yes, that has very likely confirmed. To move things into the next venue, I should denote that on the 6-hour time frame, I believe. Yeah, the 6-hour time frame also showing a drive of phantom bullish divergence. In this case, and if we go through low-term timeframe stochastic momentum, we can see that the 12-hour is still actually vertical as long as Bitcoin's above 16,550. What's very interesting about this, however, is that you can see that volatility hasn't even begun to expand. So it's only just begun, or maybe it's only just begun, possibly. But if we go to the 6-hour time frame, we can see that same thing. It is actually going to get another cross the upside. This pivot, however, coming in at 16,800. This one already supported by DMI. You can see that volatility is kind of expanding here, but I wouldn't say it's quite there just yet. I want to see another tick to the upside. 4-hour time frame certainly is expanding, and we can see that 4-hour stochastic momentum pivot is 16,800. So you can see that that number comes in a few times here on the board thus far. So it's a bit of a short-term time frame pivot for now, and the hourly time frame should be actually vertical as well, and will stay vertical as long as Bitcoin's above 16,750 on a closing basis. So swinging back on over here, I do want to go back down to the 4-hour time frame, and this pivot provides, or sorry, yesterday's higher low provides a very obvious and nice pivot for price action at 16,000, let's call it 600 on a closing basis. That is to say that as long as Bitcoin's above that level on CME, then I look at that, I look at that as likely continuation to the upside, probably towards $17,000. 17,000, or a little bit above 17 if you want to get super exact, is the big area to be mindful of. So before we get into that topic, I do want to swing over here into the HPDR indicator. This is the 4-hour time frame, and you can see that the 4-hour time frame in the blue range, is pretty accurately getting the current consolidation. Now, this is for spot price action, not for CME. But if you are looking at a 4-hour time frame, not a daily, which we'll come to in a little bit, but if you're on a 4-hour time frame, if Bitcoin can can close above 17,250. That would be range resolution and probably the first, like, let's say biggish move or relatively big move that we'll see this year. And I'd very likely be looking towards 18,000 plus after that. Somewhere around the highs of December, and then very likely a pullback there plus continuation if and when that does happen. By the same token, to the downside, the official lights off, the lights are turning off below this level, bro. It's not necessarily a line, but it's a little more complicated than that. But in this case, 16,300. This is on spot price action, not on CME, by the way. So do keep that in mind. If you're looking for more lower term time frame, obviously this would be the hourly, but it's going to take forever it's going to take forever to load here. So perhaps I'll just let that load and maybe we come back to it later. All right, sweet. So we've gotten through all of the lower term timeframes now. Now I want to swing into the higher term time. Why do I keep on saying fucking swing? It's stupid. It's silly. I'm swinging around. Yeah, this is really cool. Snazzy charts, chart action over here. Anyways, here's the daily. This is the daily for CME. And this is where I think the picture becomes a little bit more let's say interesting for the boo laws, at least in the short and medium term. Looking at the daily, we do see that the daily jewel is actually getting its first positive signal or its first upside signal since, I guess, the November rally. Yeah, the November rally, which, you know, admittedly was not like the most impressive rally of all time. At least doesn't look so much like on the charts, but that was this move over here, you know, close to a 16% move from bottom to top. So not bad. In this case, you can see that this one is actually not confirmed as of right now. It looks, you know, good thus far, but we need to actually see the daily close. But if it does close basically here or higher, you can assume that that will remain true, and that signal will then be, well, painted in. On top of that, we can also see that on a daily BBWP, again, representing volatility. Extreme lows here, extreme lows, very similar to what we saw before the November rally. So again, we're probably looking at a biggish move, like a relatively big move. Like, you know, again, these are very small moves compared to, you know, what we've seen in the not so distant, you know, like a year ago, obviously. But you know, it's all that we can do. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna like get up here and say Bitcoin to 50,000 or Bitcoin to 10,000. It's like, if it is happening, it's not fucking happening today. Okay, it's probably not even happening this month, even if that. Certainly not to 50,000. I don't think happens. Like, definitely not. Extremely unlikely this year. I'll put it that way. And I would make no comment on any further years. I think best case scenario for Bitcoin this year is probably like 30 to maybe best, let's say like the stars align, 40,000. But I think that that's going to be a major trap. I think that would be like the actual trap. And then anyways, I'm getting way ahead of myself right now. All right, so we spoke about the daily jewel. Yes, okay, we got that. 5-day, I believe, is also going to be putting in some drives of phantom bullish divergence over here, coming off these last couple lows. And I'm curious if this is also on spot price action. It's not, but CME matters more anyways. And again, that would just be another thing that does suggest, at least short term, you know, we probably do see like 17 or maybe 17,250 tested. The question is, can Bitcoin close above these regions? See a daily above like 17,050 or a 4-hour above 17,250. That's at the point where I'd say, hey, you're very likely looking at the next major leg to the upside, 18 plus, probably towards 19 if I'm being completely honest. Completely honest, like I'm lying about it. No, that's like my true thoughts in this case. 5-day jewel also getting a bit of a continuation right there as well. So I'd say that these things do kind of align better for a short-term low than not. Anyways, finishing this one off on the 2-day time frame, I do want to bring things back on over here. I won't go through the full explanation of this, just the volatility versus stochastic momentum setup, basically low volatility plus stochastic momentum. Direction has accounted for these stats here. Hey, motherfucker, show me the stats. These stats right here. Again, it's not perfection, obviously, or it's not certainties. We're talking about statistics, but, you know, relatively high hit rate based off of a low, you know, amount of data. I mean, this is the best that we can do. This is the full history of CME, but it is the best that we can do. And of course, you know, the next 2-day time frame closures actually be tonight. And the current 2-day time frame momentum pivot is 16,950. So if you do see Bitcoin on CME close above that level tonight, that would be a damn good early warning signal that the probabilities are once again shifting in favor of the boo laws, and you probably will see that move up somewhere around like 18, maybe even 19,000 bucks throughout the month of January. As on average, we do kind of expect that to take about 3.5 weeks. You probably as well have also noticed that I've actually charted this out as a bit of a flag formation, which I very rarely do. I'm not a big fan of formations in general, but this one is kind of in there. So, if I do want to represent the bearish twist on this, it would be, yeah, short term can very easily be up, but as long as Bitcoin's below 19, well, just another just another flag, sir. I said flag, not the other F word, you fuck. Anyways, other than that, yeah, keep that pivot in mind. Lower term time frame pivots, like very, very low term time frame, was it like 16,750 or 16.8, and then the 4 hour will actually reverse below 16,550. So that's a big one as well, because if it does lose 16,550, or at least I would be looking back around the lows of this current consolidation, and maybe even Bitcoin dumps back out to the lows of the the prior weekly lows in the mid to upper 15s. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. Again, we're going to be gone for the whole day, and probably tomorrow's going to be a recovery day, but we'll be doing our best to get back to all of the messages as quickly as possible. And with that said, I want to, as always, wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.